My Name is Not Easy by Debbie Dahl Edwardson. Looking for a Tree, September 6, 1960. Chicky. I was 5 years old before I figured out I wasn't really Eskimo. It's weird it took me so long since I have hair as blonde as snow, freckles like crazy, and a dad named Swede. I mean, who ever heard of an Eskimo with freckles, for heaven's sake? But I never thought about this when I was a little girl in Kotzebue, Alaska, because Swede didn't have any use for mirrors, so our house never had one. They say I look like my mama, but I wouldn't know about that either. Swede never had pictures. Now here I am at Sacred Heart School in a room with 4 beds, one huge mirror, and a picture of Mother Mary, big as life. The one thing Swede told me about Sacred Heart was that I'd see a lot of trees here, and he was right about that. Sacred Heart School is in a valley that's full to the brim with trees. In the late afternoon sun, the ones outside my window shake their yellow leaves and wave their papery white trunks like dancers. Farther off in the distance are great big ones, dark as priests, poking holes in the sky with their prickly tops. This is all brand new to me because in Kotzebue, Alaska, there are no trees. No real ones anyhow. Swede says the first time he ever saw my mama, that's where she was, high up in a tree. She was so far up, he didn't even see her at first. Didn't even think to look up until he took his suspenders off to make a slingshot, and a couple of birds started laughing at him. That's what it sounded like anyhow, because at the exact same moment my mother started laughing, 2 jays started screeching. When Swede finally looked up, there was my mama, sitting up in that tree like a big blonde bird, laughing. So all I ever wanted to do, just once, was to see what it would feel like to sit up in a tall tree, looking down, because my mama died before she could teach me about trees. I figure if you look hard enough in a place like this, you'll find a tree tall enough to reach the clouds, tall enough to reach heaven, maybe, which is where my mama is, though Swede never says it. Aka May, she's the one who helped raise me after mama died. She says heaven's a place way up in the sky where everyone is always happy and no one is ever sick and they eat pie every single day. Only you have to die to get there, which I personally have questions about. Someday I'll get answers too, because I'm stubborn. When stubborn people have questions, they don't give up until they get answers. Stubborn people can probably figure out how to climb trees without anybody's help just fine too. At least that's what I figure, sneaking out the back door of the school when no one's looking. I'm going to find a tree to climb, a really tall one. But right away, I discovered 2 really important things about the trees here at Sacred Heart School. Most of them are either too skinny or too prickly to climb, and none of them have branches in the right places. If I want to climb a tree, I'm going to have to find one of those really big ones I saw from the window. I think I'm heading in the right direction, but it's hard to tell because trees keep getting in the way, so I have to walk around them. Sometimes I find little trails to follow, but then the trails disappear just like that, and it's nothing but trees again. The air has a sharp tang to it too, like it's fixing to snow, and I'm getting cold. When you see trees out a window, they seem sort of like people, each one with its own look. But when you're in the middle of them, they all look the same. An army of scabby trunks joined together with prickly arms, never ending. I can't even tell which way I came from now because no matter where I look, it's all the same. No way in, no way out. I'm freezing. All of a sudden, I have a bad thought. A person could freeze to death out here and no one would ever find them. I stop walking and look around, trying hard to figure things out. That's when I realized that the sky filtering down through the trees is getting darker by the second. I'm scared. Feels like the trees are starting to close in on me, pressing in so tight it gets hard to breathe. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm lost. I start to run, desperate to get away, but the branches reach out and scratch my face, and the roots and rocks keep trying to trip me. When I stop to catch my breath, my heart is pounding against my chest so hard it hurts. I want Swede. I close my eyes tight and try to make him come. I know it's dumb, but it's all I can think to do. My feet are frozen to the ground, and I'm too scared to move. That's when I remember something Sweet said to Akame once. A person can always find a way out of a tight spot so long as they don't panic. I take a deep breath, trying to ignore my stomach, which seems determined to panic. Don't panic, Chicky Snow. Think. I say this over and over and over until my body starts to relax. Then I have an idea. If there's no way anyone's going to see me or even know where to look, I'm going to have to make noise, a lot of noise. Help! I holler it as loud as I possibly can, but my voice comes out soft and squeaky. Help! I try to make my voice hard and tough, but the cold wind gulps up the sound before it even leaves my mouth, and the dark swallows it. I start walking again anyhow, hollering weak little noises into the bristly black shadows, feeling more hopeless every step I take. I'm done for. Mother Mary, help. Suddenly I see something familiar, a 55-gallon oil drum lying on its side. I look around real good, because it goes to figure that where there's oil drums, there's people. So now I'm standing here looking at that drum real hard, like it has to have the answer to my problem locked up inside it. Which way? I whisper. Which way? Everywhere I look seems full of black shadows. Then I get another idea. I pick up a piece of dead wood and start banging on the side of that drum, yelling like crazy. Help! Bang, bang! Help! I keep at it, hollering and banging with such passion, I don't hear anything else and don't even realize there's someone there until I see a fluttering of white emerge from the black trees like a ghost. And believe me, this is a sight that scares the sound right out of me. Then I realize it's one of the nuns. Sister, I bellow, running at her. My goodness, she says. What in the world is going on here? She's really tall as a tree, but something in her voice sounds more like a mother than like a nun. I got lost. My voice feels small, and there's a big stinging lump of tears in my throat. What on earth are you doing out here? Looking, I say, tears starting to roll down my cheeks. Looking for a tree. Sister sits down next to me, and before I know it, I'm crying for real. Looking for a tree, she says with a little laugh. Well, it looks like you found one. And all of a sudden, I start laughing too, laughing and crying at the same time. Me sitting in the middle of an endless forest looking for a tree. You're not used to this kind of woods, are you? I shake my head. Me neither, she says. We have bigger trees where I come from, but not so many. It's a bit intimidating, isn't it? I nod because even though I never heard that word before, I can tell what it means by the way she says it. Intimidating is the way these trees close in around a person, like they might try and choke you. Feels like this wilderness goes on forever, she says. I don't say anything because it seems like she's talking more to herself than to me. And anyhow, it feels good sitting right next to her, feeling warm and not having to worry about intimidating things. The garden is right over there, she says softly, pointing back the way she came. See, you weren't really lost. Off in the distance, I can hear the sound of a door banging shut and a hint of kids' voices. We just made a batch of cookies. Would you like one? I nod. What's your name, dear? I sure like the way she says that word, dear. Cecilia Snow, I tell her, but people that know me always call me Chicky. Well, I'm Sister Mary Kate, she says, standing up, and it's almost time for dinner, Chicky, so you and I had better hurry up inside. And so we do.